everyone who's watching, and welcome to GuyKat Customer Stories. I'm so happy to have Amy Robinson with me today, who is the Director of Product Knowledge for Education Division at Lazyboy. Amy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about Lazyboy?
Hi, I'm Amy Salm. I'm Director of Product Knowledge for the Education Division. I've been with the company over 24 years in different capacities of representing the company. And over the last 4.5, 5 years, I've been directing what our product knowledge department is and recreating all of the certain courses that we have in product knowledge to develop a program versus a course at a time, if you will. And with GuyKat's assistance of bringing this to a fabulous fruition.
Why don't you start telling us about how everything started, how learning started at Lazyboy? So where were you just before you got on board with Docebo and GuyKat?
Because I have represented the company over 24 years, most of the material that we had at the time was printed. It could be branded or it could be non-branded. And these were articles that we were giving our sales associates on the front line from around the world. But it wasn't really dedicated and fully branded like it should be. And then there was someone else in the position who has since retired, and he brought on a different system for LMS so that we could begin to house all of the learning in one place. It never really was effective because the courses were not structured, and there were things inside the courses that were not relevant to actually what we need to tell a customer about. So when I came into this position, I took a long, hard look at what learning was. And there were the courses, and some of them were effective, but could be more effective. And some could certainly go away. And then we had some printed material that you could use, but there really was never that formal hub of learning. And we also had outside sources that were making up their own materials. And the next thing you know, we were seeing homemade videos on YouTube and things that were not effective or beneficial to the brand. So I took a long, hard look at the administrative part of it, which was a nightmare. It was antiquated and dated and was not functioning any longer. With the growth of the internet and the growth of engagement, we needed to elevate and escalate where we stand. So we did some interviewing and landed on Docebo, and we're very happy with the platform we chose. A little surprising that we had to do some developing on our own because you were talking about people that were green on computers and development. And if we had known about GuyKat at the time, I think we would have had a far better launch 2 years ago. And we started to team on making what we have with our Docebo platform even better. The ladies have kind of taken the helm for all of our administrative duties to get our functions better in order, to get our, the team at GuyKat got our landing pages far more advanced than what we started with in its elementary stages. And today I feel like we're on a little bit of a faster crawl than we were just simply 2 years ago. We are going to anniversary in July, going live with Docebo as our second anniversary. So it's been a long, quick journey, but one that has been beneficial to us so that we can keep doing what we do. And that's taking our one-on-ones with our dealers and our customers and allowing GuyKat to do what they do best, and that's to make us better.
You mentioned earlier that Lazyboy is celebrating 100 years this decade, which is truly amazing. Congratulations. And why don't you walk us through the journey on the how and why Lazyboy started learning and development from the beginning?
You know, we have 2 cousins that lived in Monroe, Michigan, which is where our headquarters, our world headquarters still is today. And they created a chair, and it was what I would if you considered the Titanic, and they had the chairs on the deck, and they were wood slat chairs. That's what I always kind of equate it to. It was a wood slat chair, and the back reclined away from the seat so that you could recline in a wood chair outdoors. And this chair is where we are today, almost 100 years later, with years of technology and innovation. So we went from a wood chair to a upholstered chair to a rocking chair to power recliners. And this evolution of what we continue to do, because we have a fabulous research and development team, we want to get the word out to our people that these cells inside of our own company that are constantly creating and recreating and elevating and innovating a process and a product to bring to the consumers, because the consumer's choice is ever evolving as well. And to be able to celebrate 100 years of how we taught our individuals who are selling the product is also a very large umbrella to say that we've been able to carry that torch. And over the last 2 years with GuyKat's assistance, look where we have simply evolved in the innovation of learning and the Docebo platform. So that's a quick story of product and the start of the process. And inside each of our silos within the company, we're doing the same thing, evolving and growing and using more innovation to take us into the next century.
Thank you so much, Amy. This is truly amazing. Could you please elaborate on what were the main pain points of your process before getting GuyKat on board?
It was functioning. Docebo and La-Z-Boy were functioning, but we weren't proficient, and we weren't together on making it easier for the admins on the local level to do some of the steps that they needed to do. And this is where GuyKat came in, and we did a formal meet and greet, if you would, and we walked them through what we had and where we wanted to go with it. Not only are we planning to use Docebo for our learning and our sales, but we want to grow the Docebo platform so that it is learning with all of our departments within our company. Right now we have our different departments, and many of them have their own learning platform. And for us to be paying outside sources and we don't know what their platforms look like, we can't focus on those and bring them into an umbrella that gives us one branded look along all lines. And that's what GuyKat is doing for us. They're giving us that branded appearance that is simple to use, that's easy to operate, and that our other departments, once they are logged in and joined into this system, we will all be functioning in the same capacity.
Thank you for that. And now that we've touched internal learning, I know compliance training was and still is a big part of the learning platform. Would you be able to talk about more about that as well?
I would. Thank you. We have over 150 of our own retail locations across the United States and several in Canada. Every state has their own compliance rules and regulations, and we had outside assistance with some of the compliance courses, but teaming up with GuyKat has allowed us to open up those avenues of courses and what we can assign as a unilateral course structure for compliance, but also allows us to be very state specific. I think around the world, they probably know that in the United States, California is the most stringent in their compliance rules and regulations. So with the help of GuyKat, we have been able to target and pinpoint specifically for those regions, and then other states that have come on board with more stringent compliance regulations. GuyKat has been able to offer us a larger library of what we can take and distribute within the learning platform, so that we are, again, more targeted, whether it is workplace harassment, sexual harassment, and it could come down to compliances of hiring and firing. So we have that as that extension, which is something else that we were missing and needed.
I know a lot of companies are interested in making the most of that admin training on the platform. Would you be able to share your experience regarding the admin training?
We created, I would say at this point, probably 5 or 6 different admin webinars where they sent out the invitations to all of our admins. We gave them options of dates and times to attend at their convenience. And then I just sat in the background and answered as questions were available from the Lazy Boy side of things. But I wanted Jenny and Kate to take the helm and walk our admins through an actual demonstration that they were able to record. And then we were able to share that link as other new admins come on board. This way, it's not just printed material and they have to read and follow along, but it's almost like coaching over the shoulder. And to me, that's very important.
Thank you for that. And touching on that admin training, I know that you've looked at some rewards and badges on the platform as well. That's probably more on the future plans.
We have our future plans, yes. Mobile, we actually are, we have a little snippet. We're under testing right now with mobile. Hopefully we'll be fully on board with testing later today. You know, our platform is new. And with this last year of COVID, and a lot of our locations were closed and on shutdown and lockdown, even our team players that would ordinarily go in and take courses weren't allowed by state regulations to do that. If there was a way we can get around some of that, but without user engagement, not following the state compliances when you're under a lockdown like that, how could we get them engaged? And gamification always seems to be the way. They stay on the platform longer, they're engaged longer, they're rewarded for their time on the platform. And then we can also start doing more testing, whether it's just simple 1 minute, here's a 1 minute activity and let's test you. And then you can start to rank yourself. And we have, not only with our retail division of over 150 stores, we have a very large contingency that is proprietary dealers, and they are all extremely competitive. And this would be a fun way to keep the competition going and the engagement in the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like already I've only heard a snippet of the future plans here, but I'm already very excited to hear what else do you have planned for the future?
Oh my gosh, we have a very large amount of users in Canada, as well as around the world. And one thing that we have not been able to offer them is translation. And that's very important to us because they're just as large a partner with us as they are here in the United States. And so I want to make sure that we are able to translate all the current courses, whether they are sales, compliance, and product knowledge, so that these users around the world, because we are a world company, we're not just a United States based company, we want to be able to give them the same access and privileges that we have as we started here 2 years ago.
I know Coach and Share is on your future plans list as well. Would you tell me what plans do you have for that side of the business for social learning as well?
We have started a very small process of the Coach and Share. It's still in its elementary stages. We want more engagement by the users themselves, not just the department that I head of us posting on the Coach and Share sites, but we want the individuals. You know, they're on the front lines with our consumers, and they're hearing things that the consumers have to say, and they're perfecting their performance on the floors every time they have a customer in front of them. So if there is a win we want them to be able to have a platform where they can share their win. It could be that they said one thing different than they had on a regular basis, and that one thing moved a sale in a positive direction. We also want to have them share things that were not in a positive movement. Perhaps they said something that was in a negative reaction to a customer. If we can share those types of processes as well, it's a learning process for everyone, not just the individual. They may not think that what just happened to them on a selling floor is a positive, but it is a learning positive. And we're here every day to make an impact. And some of the impacts can help us in directions that we're not even aware that they would cause or help.
So before we wrap up, I also wanted to ask you about the e-learning journey. I know e-learning courses, training. So I know we've spoke a lot about the chamber and LMS and professional services, but I know that you had some courses on the platform that GuyKat helped update. Oh. But where is it now? How does your courses look now, and how GuyKat helped you with course development?
You know, if it weren't for GuyKat, I would not have been able to move forward last year. With COVID and on lockdown for quite a while, La-Z-Boy itself was locked down for over 8 weeks. Our stores were locked down for over 12. When I came back on board, I knew I had a deadline of 6 months to get all of our courses out of Adobe Flash and into a new platform. And GuyKat has their team that allowed me to move forward with small things that they could take the helm on the large projects. I was connected with Zoe and her team, and it was a trial and error at first because I was used to doing things a certain way. GuyKat was certainly used to doing things a certain way, but their guidance was perfection, if you will. They were able to offer me steps of learning in the new process of what makes it easy for the GuyKat team to move forward on a timely basis. They gave me wonderful guidelines that I could follow. They created a few forms that I could kind of follow along with, and it got everything done. We got all the courses done by December 31st. And again, I couldn't have done it without the e-learning team at GuyKat. And the other thing that they were able to offer us, kind of outside that box, are some of the extra courses for sales and for compliance and customer service that we didn't have in our repertoire. So because GuyKat was able to help us build some platforms from their usage and their recommendations, we now have some nice other umbrellas besides just product. And how we keep moving from one department inside GuyKat and just building our own umbrella and teamwork. And I can only see us in this, our fiscal year just started in May. I can only see what this next year is going to look like and how many more team members that we may encompass inside the GuyKat umbrella to the La-Z-Boy umbrella, and just continue to grow our partnership. It's very exciting. I like to smile about it. It means less work for me.
I love that. Honestly, I'm listening to you and I'm just stunned how amazing that is. And this last sentence was such a perfect ending to this whole interview, I think.